everybody, me and Dean back after another video. Today I'm doing episode 3 of my Various Vintages series. Now if you've been with me since the beginning and you've watched a lot of my videos, first of all thank you. Secondly, you're probably saying, what the hell is he talking about? I've never heard of that series. Well, that's true. I actually haven't really called it that until now. But I had an idea the other day to try to present some interesting videos about one particular varietal of wine and try to bring it to you from several different perspectives. Now that could be, in some places it could be price point, but I'm going to try to keep the prices in the general ballpark, I think. But it could be just different countries, regions, different styles. There's a lot of different things about the same grape varietal you can find done differently in different parts of the world, or even in the same parts of the world. Chardonnay particularly, unoaked, oaked, that's an easy thing to say. But today I'm starting with a red wine. Well, I shouldn't say starting. So how can I say this is episode 3? Well, the very first video I did was all about Gamay, way back in the day, video number 1. And then I also did one with a whole bunch of different kinds of Albariños in it. So I'm calling this number 3, because today I'm gonna bring you some Nebbiolo. Now, there's a lot of probably very experienced and intelligent, knowledgeable wine people out here who probably just get it. What's he talking about, Nebbiolo? He's going to bring us Nebbiolo from everywhere. Nebbiolo's Italian. It's only grown in Italy, basically. So what's he talking about? Well, basically true. But I am bringing you a couple different Nebbiolos from Italy, and I'm bringing you one from somewhere else. So Nebbiolo is not just grown in Italy, but it is obviously very famous there. As you can see, this is a Barolo. Barolo is a sub-region of the Langhe region, and it is by far the most famous example of Nebbiolo, the grape. And we'll get to that one. I'm starting off with one from the Langhe, but just called Langhe, so it's not actually a Barolo. 2016 from Azelia. I just had a sip of it already, and it's delicious. It's older. So this is not going to be like a which is better type of thing, because a 2011 Barolo is going to be better than a 2016 Langhe Nebbiolo, probably. But that's not the point of this. I'm going to try to just bring you some differences in them. Some why is this better or worse? What is different about it? And then this one here is from Australia. Yes, Alpha Box and Dice 2014, I think. Nebbiolo, Fog Nebbiolo, what's called. So Nebbiolo does grow in other parts of the world. It's by far most of it's in Italy, but the United States has some. There's some in California, Washington, Oregon, even Virginia. There is some in Mexico. Yes, Mexico, in the Baja California region, there is some Nebbiolo there. There's a little bit in Argentina. There's some in South Africa, a little bit in Uruguay and Chile, and of course Australia has some, as I have one right here. I tasted this at the Vancouver National Wine Festival quite a few years ago. I think I bought 3 bottles. I drank 2 of them. This one I put away for a while, so this is getting a little older. I don't really know how long they will old. This is from the Adelaide Hills, McLaren. From the Adelaide Hills it says, but it also says McLaren Vale. So that's produced by. Okay, so it's from the Adelaide Hills of Australia. So these wines will be very different. These two, the 2 from Italy, will probably be similar in profile in a lot of ways. Because the Barolo is in the Langhe. It's just a sub-region of that, whereas the Langhe is a much bigger region that encompasses other sub-regions, and also, you can call it a Langhe wine, and it's just the grapes are coming from that region in general. It's 2016, so it's still 6 years old, but that's pretty young for a Nebbiolo. But we have a 2011 here, and this is a 2014, so we're going to get a good mix of grapes. A good mix of flavors and not a good mix of grapes, because it's exactly the same grape, but a good mix of wines, I hope. So I'm going to go through this one here. So how this started, but my wife actually brought this out. I asked her to bring me something to blind taste today, and she brought me this one. And yeah, I nailed it, because Nebbiolo is not that difficult in most cases. But I thought to myself, I was thinking about doing this video with Nebbiolo, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just go do it right now. So right off the bat, on the nose, really intense red cherry, red roses, tar. So once you get tar and roses, you're only going one place, right? There's other things there. There's a little bit of spice. But really, once you get to the tar and roses part of the program, you're at Nebbiolo, I think. If there's anything else that smells exactly like that, I'm not really sure what it is. And, you know, don't be put off by tar. I mean, I don't love the smell of tar on an asphalt either, but it's not like that. But it's there, right? I mean, yeah, there's definitely a freshly paved road smell to it. But what you're going to get first is the cherries and the roses. The red roses are very intense. I suspect they'll be even more intense here, but we'll see when we get to that one. But for now, this is really a lovely wine. So Nebbiolo, traditionally, very tannic. This is very tannic. Very acidic. This is very acidic. Again, two more things that made this a pretty easy blind tasting. Acidity's medium plus to high. Well, it's high. Probably high. Tannins are high. Medium plus to high, I would say, because it is 6 years old. I suspect upon bottling, which was probably, they probably bottled this at about 2019, it was probably really tannic. But it's settled down a little bit now. But it's still tannic. All kinds of red fruit. There's also some black fruit, mulberry, spice. But you can't get away from the floral characteristics of this grape. Even on the palate, it's rose water. It's like it's almost like you're drinking roses. I've never actually just chomped on a rose. Maybe I should one day, but the floral characteristics are unmistakable. It's the lovely wine. I even feel like on the palate I'm getting some like juicy white peach, which is not something you're gonna get from Nebbiolo much, I don't think, but they're all different. Finishes medium plus to long. This is gonna be a great wine with food that requires a big tannic and acidic wine. Probably a fatty steak would be delicious with this. It's a lovely wine, and this is not a really expensive wine, as you see. Barolos can go up to a lot of money. You can spend a lot of money on Barolos. I have to look up how much I paid on this one. It was not cheap, I don't think, but it wasn't hundreds of dollars. And this one I think was pretty reasonable as well. So as I do the video, I will find the prices for you. But I cannot recommend this enough. I would score this 92 points at this point. It is really a lovely, I was going to say entry level expression of Barolo. That's not fair. It's not entry level, but it is. If you find wine Nebbiolo from the Longue, you're going to pay a lot less money than you are going for a Barolo. In fact, I had a Barolo from this exact same winery. It was 2014 Barolo from Azalea that I had probably 6 weeks ago, and it was spectacularly good. This is delicious. That was quite a bit better, but there's nothing. This for half the price. This is absolutely spectacular. So I'm going to pour myself some more Nebbiolo, and I'm going to give the wife some too. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to review these two as well. I'm very excited to see the difference. I'm very excited about this one because I know I've tasted this before and I enjoyed it, but I can't remember off the top of my head the differences between this one and the Italian ones. So let's find out. Okay, on to our second wine, and you'll notice there's a new bottle here. Move these down a bit because I forgot I had one of these. This is a Barbaresco. Now, this is a 2017 Barbaresco from Prudhotory Del Barbaresco. So, what is Barbaresco? We talked about Barolo as being a sub-region. I think I said a sub-region in the Longue. That's not totally true. When I say it's in the Longue, it's kind of encompassed by the Longue region. Barolo is its own independent sub-region, as is Barbaresco. So have a look. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, you can see how the Longue kind of envelops them, but they're not part of the Longue. These regions are all part of Piedmont, or Piemonte, as the Italians would call it. We kind of butchered it over here in North America. We've always called it Piedmont, right? But really, Piemonte is the official, is the way to pronounce that region. So, Barbaresco, what's different about Barbaresco and Barolo? They're very close to each other. About $100. No, it's a little more complicated than that. Barbaresco's soil has more minerals in it, more nutrients, which will allow for some less tannins. So it won't be quite as intense. It may not need to age quite as well. It doesn't mean it doesn't age beautifully. They do. They age amazingly. But that's one of the reasons I'm trying a fairly young vintage 2017 here. Well, two reasons. One, because I have it, I want to use it in this video. But also, two, 2017 was not really what you'd call a great year for Barolo and Barbaresco. The growing season was truncated a little bit. They had frost and extreme heat. So the quality of the 2017s, there's going to be some great wines, don't get me wrong. There always is great wine every year from these regions, but you may find some inconsistencies. Maybe not as balanced as you might notice. So I'm going to give it a shot. I haven't had a Barbaresco in quite a while. It smells lovely. It is a little bit less intense than Barolo tend to be. The tar and roses doesn't go away, it's still there. But it's also really fruit forward up front and like almost a sweet red cherries to go up with the roses. And yeah, there's underlying herbaceousness and the tar. So slightly less floral than Barolo. At least this one is. I can't talk about all Barbarescos, of course, but this one is a little less intensely floral, even than the Longue Nebbiolo, which I tried earlier. We'll see what happens when we get to the Barolo. And again, remember, this isn't supposed to be a comparison. It's just a few different styles of this great Nebbiolo. Hopefully, you'll learn a little bit more about it. So let's dig in and see what it's like. Oh, that's nice, but excuse me. Don't mistake tannins aren't quite as intense as Barolo for tannins aren't intense, because they are. Again, very young wine, and I aerated it and decanted it, but it's only been decanting for 20 minutes at most. So, yeah, lovely. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to pause the video right now. I am going to let this decant for another half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because it is good, but it is intensely tannic still. Very dry, fruity, nice, but it needs a little bit of time. I don't have a decade to give it, so I'm going to give it half an hour or an hour in the decanter, and I'll be back. Okay, here we are about an hour later, and as you might be able to tell from the amount in the decanter I have been drinking, that's why I've been sitting out there enjoying my evening, and it is changing. I think it might even need another hour to really get there, but it's really nice. I'm getting the notes of cinnamon now, which is interesting. And on the palate, that's a beautiful bottle of wine. Absolutely fantastic. Off the top of my head, I'd give that 93 points, at least. Lovely. Really intense red cherry, crunchy red fruit, like there's cinnamon on the palate as well. Very floral still. It's very traditional Nebbiolo, and probably, and I'm not an expert on Barbaresco. I drink way more Barolo than Barbaresco. But from what I have read about Barbaresco, this is a very traditional example of it, and it's really good. Beautiful long finish. Acidity's high. Tannins are still intense, but They're not punchy in the face intense now after an hour. Really nice. Yeah. So I highly recommend that bottle, as I recommended the other one. So far we're 2 for 2 with 2 really good bottles. So I still got the Australian Nebbiolo to go. I've got the Barolo. This is a 2011 Barolo, so it's nicely aged. So let's find out what's next. Okay, so here's the last 2 Nebbiolos from this video. I've Coravanned them because I'm going to drink probably one of these today, but not both, I don't think. But I want to taste them side by side because I suspect, I could be wrong, I suspect these will be the 2 that are the most different. We'll see. So, 2014 Alpha Box and Dice Fog Nebbiolo from Australia. Now, I tasted this originally at the Wine Festival in 2018. I brought my notes out. At the time I said the nose was walnuts, dates, rose petals, leather tobacco, and sandalwood. Don't remember that at all. But okay. Tobacco, roses, cherry on the palate. So that's been 4 good years. Well, 4 years and a little bit, right? The Wine Festival would have been February of 18. So 4 years and a bit later. And let's see how much it changed. Well, it's still roses up front. What did I say? Walnuts and dates, eh? Oh, definitely dates. It's definitely some woodiness too. A little bit of funkiness. A little bit of truffle. Definitely some. If I said sandalwood back in the day, I might say cedar now, but there's red cherry there. A little bit of tobacco. The more I inhale, the more the cherry kind of comes to the forefront. Like an underlying hint of tar. It's not as prevalent as it usually is in this grape. It is there though. Okay, let's have a little sip and see what we're thinking here. Oh wow, that's nice. Oh wow. A real underlying, beautiful mouth-watering acidity. Tannins are nice fine grained tannins. They're still there, but not overwhelmingly so. Lots of red cherry, cranberry, a little bit of wild strawberry, I think. Leather, tobacco, cigar box, I think. Still very floral, of course. Oh, that is really good. At the time I gave it 93 points, which is probably a big number at the time for a non-Barolo Nebbiolo. I don't know how much Nebbiolo I was drinking 4 years ago. Yeah. I would drink that all day long, every day of the week, and 2 bottles on Sunday. Wow. Okay, so now, over to the big boy here. Back to Ciolo, 2011 Barolo. So we're a little over a decade, which is just still young for a Barolo. Still a baby. Oh, it doesn't smell anything like that one. Okay, so it's almost okay. So more intense, still some floral notes, but it's more fruity than anything else. A little bit of tar, but not as much as I would have expected, honestly. Had the wife blind tasted me on this one, usually if she blind tastes me on a Barolo or a Nebbiolo, I'm going to get it instantly. I may not have got this right away. Strawberry, cherry, pomegranate, I think. These are not descriptions I usually associate with Barolo. Blackberry. Rose water. Okay. Oh, a little bit of red licorice. Maybe black licorice. Sousson. Alright, let's see how it tastes. Okay, well, still a big boy, 11 years old. Tannins are much more intense on this one than on this. A lot of red fruit. Yeah, it's I'm less excited about the Barolo than I am about the Nebbiolo from Australia, believe it or not. Okay, so I gave that one a real good swirl. Still red fruit. It's like a little bit of pipe tobacco. Still floral, roses. Medium plus to long finish. This one had a similar finish. Yeah. Well, okay, so they're both nice wines. I would stick with the 93 points on the Alpha Box of Dice. I think I probably nailed that one when I reviewed it 4 years ago. And this one, it's a nice wine, but it's not as good as the other one. 2011, probably 91, maybe. Yeah, no, probably 92. I mean, I would think 92 is probably right. I think the Barbaresco that I had was a little better. It's probably as good as the Longue Nebbiolo. Different, and I think that this is just one that's still so young. It probably needs another 4, 5, maybe 10 years to really fully come together, which is pretty typical of Barolo. I'll have to look up, and I'll put in the on the bottom of the screen. I've forgotten what kind of a year 2011 was in Barolo. My instincts tell me it was a cold, rainy year. But if I'm wrong about that, I will correct myself right down here. But otherwise, that's it for this video. So I hope you learned a little something about Nebbiolo. I think we gave you 4 really good bottles of wine to try. 4 very different bottles of wine. These were totally different, and hey, if you can find this Fogged Nebbiolo from Alpha Box and Dice in your local market, I don't even remember where we got it from in BC. I mean, I know I got it at the Wine Fest, but of course the wines at the Wine Fest are dog wants in. I better wrap it up. So the wines that the Wine Fest are brought in specifically for that, they may not be always available anywhere else, but I have seen this wine other places. I'm just not sure where. I had to actually get up and let her in because she was distracting me. I couldn't finish the video. So now we have guest dog. You're not getting an executive producer credit. You're only going to be here for 2 minutes. Yeah, so this batch of Ciolo Barolo will be easy to find anywhere. I suspect the Longue Nebbiolo will be easy to find. This one I'm not sure about, and the Bubaresco won't be tough to find either. It's a well-known producer, and Barbarescos are, as I said, usually a pretty good value, $51, and compared to the other prices, pretty good. Hello. Well, I guess she's wearing her cold hoodie. It's cold outside. She's wearing her cold hoodie. Isn't that good? You're excited for football season, aren't you? Just 6 more months or something. Not 6 months, 4 months. Anyway, I hope you learned a little something about Nebbiolo. I'm going to do some more of these videos with different grapes. Leave a comment if you got a particular grape you want to know a little more about. One that I can source and get a few different bottles of from different places in the world would be awesome. Other than that, please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. She's licking my arm. That's great. And until next time, drink great wine. See you soon.